Good evening, and thank you for joining us. We are going to begin with breaking news tonight. America is now in COVID hell. In just 24 hours, the U.S. has broken every record set since the pandemic began 10 months ago, with more new infections, hospitalizations, and deaths in a single day than ever. So many Americans are now being killed by the virus. 4 people have died just since this broadcast began. That's a rate of 1 life lost every 30 seconds. As we come on the air tonight, more than 100,000 people are now in the hospital with coronavirus, pushing the country's healthcare system to the brink. California's governor says ICU beds are filling up so fast there, he may soon have to shut down much of his state, ordering people to stay at home to try to stop the virus from spreading any faster. Now, tonight, President-elect Joe Biden says he's going to ask all Americans to wear a mask for his first 100 days in office. Mr. Biden also says today he asked Dr. Anthony Fauci, the country's top infectious disease expert, to stay on in his administration and serve as his chief medical officer. Well, tonight, Dr. Fauci is apologizing to the British government after telling CBS News today that the UK moved too quickly to approve the Pfizer vaccine. We've got a lot of new reporting for you and your family, and our team is standing by to cover it all. CBS's Adriana Diaz is going to lead off our coverage tonight from Chicago. Good evening, Adriana.
Good evening, Nora. The country is red hot with COVID cases, with health officials from coast to coast sounding the alarm about hospitals nearly at capacity. And that is because of the weight of record-setting hospitalizations and why today California's governor issued new restrictions triggered by the number of ICU beds they have left. The pandemic has the nation's healthcare system nearing a breaking point. Hospitalizations more than tripled since October 1st. ICU beds are nearly full, and frontline workers' energy levels nearly empty.
It's overwhelming, and we're doing the best we can.
It's worse in rural areas like Cheyenne Wells, Colorado, where Dr. Kurt Pappenfuss is the only full-time doctor for about 900 people. Now he's hospitalized with COVID.
I guess it took 5 different doctors to cover me in 1 week. If all your healthcare docs are like me, then what the hell are you going to do?
The daily record-breaking numbers can be hard to comprehend, but try this. Just yesterday alone, the more than 2,800 deaths reported in the U.S. is nearly as high as the death toll on September 11th. The 200,000 new cases tallied yesterday is how many people live in Salt Lake City. And the 100,000 people bedridden in hospitals with COVID is nearly the size of Green Bay, Wisconsin's population. That's one reason California Governor Gavin Newsom is instituting stricter stay-at-home guidelines triggered when ICU capacity falls below 15% and requiring 100% mask wearing for businesses allowed to stay open.
If we don't act now, our hospital system will be overwhelmed.
But resistance to restrictions remains. There was this maskless indoor wedding in the Chicago suburbs, which today health officials labeled a possible super spreader event. And last night, hundreds protested shoulder to shoulder on Staten Island after a bar owner was arrested for refusing to stop indoor dining. Meanwhile, the daily average of new cases in New York City is nearing April levels.
You just need to do the math.
On the CBS podcast, The Takeout, Dr. Anthony Fauci gave our Major Garrett a grim forecast.
We don't want to scare people, but if you look at the numbers, we know that will almost certainly is going to result in a surge superimposed upon a surge.
Dr. Fauci is now apologizing for saying this about the UK's speedy approval of Pfizer's vaccine.
I love the Brits. They're great. They're good scientists. But they just took the data from the Pfizer company, and instead of scrutinizing it really, really carefully, they said, OK, let's approve it. That's it.
Today, in an interview, President-elect Joe Biden said Dr. Fauci will be on his team, and he'll ask everyone in America to wear a mask.
Because on the first day I'm inaugurated to say I'm going to ask the public for 100 days to mask. Just 100 days.
The FDA is set to consider its approval of Pfizer's 2-dose vaccine next week. These registration cards will be used to keep track of people who receive them. And with confidence in taking the vaccine still shaky, 3 former presidents say they're willing to get the vaccine in public. We're also still seeing signs of resilience like Angelina Friedman, who just turned 102. She lived through the 1918 Spanish flu and reportedly 2 bouts of COVID-19. Her family calls her invincible. And then there are emotional scenes like this. A Chicago nurse helped 85-year-old COVID patient Florence Bolton connect with her grandchildren through FaceTime.
We love you.
And tonight, a new Wall Street Journal report says that Pfizer has cut its vaccine supply to 50 million global doses, down from 100 million due to a manufacturing supply chain disruption. The company disputes that claim and says that all 50 million doses will be delivered by the end of the year. Nora?
And the incredible nurses that care for them. Adriana Diaz, thank you.